All right, what's going on? Welcome back, Idaho Sports Talk, 5 p.m. And Prater, people have spoken on the Cloverdale Plumbing text line. Yeah, maybe porno for pyros will make great pets. Wasn't as big a hit as maybe I thought. A couple people agree with me, but I think most people are saying, yeah. Dean in Boise flat out said, 90s hit my ass. Thanks, Dino. Good stuff.
I like Dean.
Some interesting questions today. Maybe I have to step up my game on Rock Jocks and Pop Culture. Prater, first I want to get everybody their keyword. If you want to go see Boise State versus New Mexico on Saturday night for free, text 208-424-9300, our number here. Text the word safety. There was a safety in the game yesterday. Who got a safety? Text the word safety, and you are automatically entered to win tickets to that game. Tomorrow, JP will pull the winner out of the pot or whatever, however they do it. I'm not sure, but yeah, good stuff on that. All right, we're going to take a ton of calls, we're hoping, over the next half hour or so, Prater. We really wanted to do a deep dive into the wide receiver room. Matt Miller talked to the media today. We all know the news. Eric McAlister no longer with the program. He was leading this team in every meaningful statistical category. Now, all of a sudden, there's a lot of opportunity that's opening up. But the bottom line was, it's kind of like, what the heck, man? You know, I remember talking on this show with you in August, even after that. Hey, we'd say, oh, the receivers, Prater, they're talented. Prater, they got some weapons here. The receiver, this was anything but a weakness on this team. And now, without Eric McAlister, we don't know the status of Steph Cobbs. He left last game with an injury. We're looking around at the receiver room. You can look at the depth chart as well. That's been changed. Prater, all of a sudden, this doesn't look like a strength anymore, the wide receivers.
Yeah, Eric McAlister, Latrell Caprels, Billy Bowen, Steph Cobbs. If you'd have told me in August that those were going to be the four core, and I know Capels left before then, but thought it was going to be Boise State's four core wide receivers. Yeah. I mean, sign me up. Who's going to get the ball, and how are they going to distribute that to too many superstars? And it is completely opposite. It's funny how football is this crazy, beautiful sport that just gives you these surprising chapters all the time. I certainly would want to be a football coach, but yeah, McAlister's gone. Latrell Capels obviously is gone. Steph Cobbs, as you said, it could potentially be gone. But I still think that there's a little bit of hope there. And I don't know if it's false optimism, because I think that there's some guys behind the scenes. We're both excited about Austin Bolt. We're both excited about Prince Strachan. Those are the two guys that will immediately step into Eric McAlister's spot. We'll see how that plays out. Everybody underneath there has to kind of rise to the occasion. You need to get Genty involved if he's healthy and coming back. You need to get Halani involved. Thankfully, you got two really good running backs who can catch the ball, really good guys that are catching the ball. Jenny, I think, was second in the team in targets when he was healthy behind McAlister. Halani's been getting plenty of targets since he came back. So there are lots of weapons. It's not the traditional route, wide receiver 3, 4, 5, and 6, and a couple of running backs. I can't wait to see what they do with this mess on Saturday night ball game.
Yeah, I mean, you're driving in your car right now. Who do you think is going to have the most catches out of the receivers Saturday night against New Mexico? New Mexico has one of the worst defenses in America. They're like 129th out of 133 teams in points given up. Points are there. You just got to find them. This secondary for New Mexico is struggling. Who's going to get the most targets, whether it's Mad Dog or TG10? Who are they going to target the most? What are you thinking? 208-424-9300. We'll take some calls on this as we move along, Prater. But, I was at practice yesterday, and I'll tell you, it felt like the receivers had a skip to their step. It felt like they could all sense, just like anybody. You've all worked at a business, or we've all been in a situation where someone in front of you, for whatever reason, then leaves and is no longer there. And all of a sudden, pop, there's a position open. And then you get everybody saying, I want that job. That's kind of how I felt this was yesterday when I was at practice. It felt like it was almost August all over again, Prater. Practices are different in August than they are in October, because in August, every single player out there, Prater, they still have that hope, damn it. They still have that thought process that, hey, I'm going to play this year. I'm going to mix in with this team. I'm going to catch balls. And then as it kind of goes on, the cream rises to the top. We don't know who the cream is right now. We have names, but we just don't know how it's going to happen. And bottom line, Prater, yeah, we know who will get the opportunity, dude, but are they going to be any good? You know, I mean, just because, whoa, Prater, it's going to be Strachan and Parry and Bolt. That's your new big three, Prater. Well, what if they're not ready for this? Then all of a sudden you take a quirky quarterback system and throw in, inexperienced receivers not ready to make big plays. Then all of a sudden, 3rd and 7 might feel like 3rd and 17. The players still have to play well. There's a lot of questions here, dude.
Yeah, especially with the quarterback situation, and there's zero tolerance there for the quarterbacks and what they're trying to do out there. So I know this offense is clicking. They're cranking out 400 plus yards a game, 30 plus points a game. It's impressive what this offense has been able to do. But how many bullets can you take before you finally just kind of say, okay, guys, that's not going to happen? I mean, McCallister was such a monster approach to this football team. 19 targets last week, as you've brought up several times. The next 4 wide receiver targets for Boise State last week didn't combine for 19. That's how much these coaches relied on Eric McAlister, who leaves with 90 targets, according to my stats, for the entire season. For the entire season, number 2 is 47. Are you kidding me? That is a major drop-off. That's Bush Hamden and Andy Avalos telling me that Eric McAlister was so much better than everybody else that it wasn't even worth throwing the ball to them. So Cobbs, Bowens, anybody else that needs to step up, Strachan, and here comes Austin Bolt. Here comes Chase Parry, who's finally healthy, but that dude's only been targeted once or twice a game for, just a couple of weeks. He's a newcomer. So we're going to hear from some of these coaches about some of these options that they certainly have. They're optimistic about a ball game, but I'm with you. I think a strength in the offseason and a decent part of this offense during the season has become a massive question mark going into the New Mexico game on Saturday night.
Prater, I'm not factoring in, and I know this is the worst Boise State season since you got caught in Houston Nuts bushes. This is the worst season since then, but I still don't see any possibility whatsoever that Boise State loses this game to New Mexico. I just don't. But now, starting to think, like, if these receivers aren't ready to play at this level. Now, Billy Bowens, no excuses with your boy Billy Bowens, right? This is the best opportunity he's ever had. He should be the guy. Billy Bowens should be thinking right now, I'm going to get 14 targets on Saturday. I need to catch 10, 11 of those balls and have my career game. Other than that, Prater, like you said, it's funny. Think about it. Last week, EMAC had 19 targets. I mean, collectively with Prince, with Bolt, with Parry, there's not 19 targets there on the season. So maybe something's going to pop, and one of these players or 2 or 3 of these players will have terrific games, and we'll say, okay, they were ready, or they won't, and this offense is going to struggle through the air, at least with the receiver position, Prater.
You bring up my guy, Billy Bowens, and that was who I was really rooting for last year to be wide receiver number 1. BJ and I have joked many times about the bet that we had. He had Caples, I had Bowens, and he was going to kind of emerge out of that group. And I really like Billy Bowens, who at one point I thought could make that happen, but he's really fallen off for me. He had 8 targets in the Washington opener. He's had 9 targets in the last 3 games combined.
Okay.
So Billy Bowens really isn't getting the job done. And I love targets as a stat because early in the season, Andy Avalos said, look at the targets. And it's an indication of what these guys are wanting to do. When you see that Eric McAlister has twice as many targets as anybody else, that's the coaches telling you he's twice as good as anybody else we have on this football team. And when they throw 9 times to Billy Bowens in the last 3 games combined, I'm not even sure how many catches he had. That's not a good sign. So, yeah, somebody has to step up. But why haven't they stepped up before? Maybe because McCallister was there. I get it. Let's dive into Andy Avalos real quick. And I know we got to play some audio, and we can certainly take some phone calls anytime you want. But
all the callers holding, real quick, Prater, all the callers holding, we will get to you. Just stay put. Trust me, we want to hear what you have to say. Sorry, Prater, go for it.
No, that's good. And we certainly want to make those calls a priority. Real quick, though, here's Andy Avalos and what he said on Monday about how deep he has to dig into the wide receiver room to find additional depth.
But in the last game, we got to see Chase Parry come back, and jump in there and make some plays in some critical moments, which was awesome to see. And him as well. He was a starting punt returner prior to going on the shelf. And then it's an opportunity for Prince to really step up, who's come in the last couple of games and made some plays. And, with Billy and Shea, Cole, and getting guys an opportunity. We talked about it last, at the end of the game, about being able to spread the ball around and getting some guys, younger players like Prince that it's starting to come along, getting guys like Chase off, the injured list, and getting Billy, getting Shea back. Shea's been on the shelf for a couple weeks now too, and he's looked really good running around, had a really great week of practice last week. So we're excited, about that.
Where can Austin Bolt's role evolve to with the opening and the receiving?
And that's a huge part about it too, right there. Speaking of that, that's the between him and Prince have had experience playing that position. And so Austin in the last couple of weeks has really come on, had a big catch in last week's game. And so as Austin and Prince will be the primary guys over there at that position as we move forward.
All right, there's Andy Avalos talking about a couple of guys. We have Matt Miller and Bush Hamden stuff as well. But first, let's hear from you. Let's hit up that double tap pub hotline. Jeremy, you are first up. We're talking receivers, Jeremy. Who's going to pop? Who scares you? Who excites you? Jeremy, speak on Idaho Sports Talk.
Hey, guys. I've been a Boise State fan for a long time, had season tickets for years. I was excited about the receivers this year. This last game, I wasn't surprised to see McCallister's decision. He looked a little lazy in that game. A lot of balls that were just outstretched hands that he just didn't get to. I think this opens up opportunities for people like Billy Bowens to show who he is, and some of the tight ends. Louder's had some big catches. I think Chase Penry's a guy that is going to be utilized a little more. He looked pretty good in that game with his couple of targets, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. So,
Jeremy, good call. I will say this, JP, turn Prater up real quick. I can't hear him. I see him talking, but I can't hear him on Idaho Sports Talk. Prater, I think Jeremy there was right about the Eric McAlister kind of bad body language there. You saw that too?
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about that. I don't know if you can still hear me, but you and I talked about that on Friday, on Saturday night, on Bronco game night, that he had 19 targets and only 8 catches. That was very Eric McAlister, not like. And I thought some of his efforts were really, really lazy. We specifically talked about a couple of plays where I thought he waited for the ball to come to him as opposed to him going after the ball. Something was clearly off with Eric McAlister on Saturday night, and now I think we know why. We was asked yesterday if we thought that Eric McAlister knew before this game that something was up. Yeah, 100% agree with that. And Chase Penry, now that Austin Bolt has caught his pass and might be kind of slowly working his way back in, and I certainly can't wait to see how much he can grow, but I need to see some Chase Penry. He had 4 targets last week.
Yeah.
He's been hurt. He has Pac-12 experience,
okay,
and everybody thinks that this guy could be a decent wide receiver for Boise State. 4 targets last week. I want to see him develop. I need to see him get 6, 8, 9 targets and see what that dude can do with the football.
Yeah, feels like they like the Penry kid. And with all this, there's a lot of opportunity. And we don't know the case on Steph Cobbs. You might have static. I would lean towards, with the way this season is going, Prater, you're probably not going to have static. So I'm going to, maybe, they're going to plan for every possible option. So it might be a collection of guys that haven't had a chance to make plays and Billy Bowens. Let's get to Dino. Dean, welcome to Idaho Sports Talk. You're on the Double Tap Pub hotline. What do you know? What do you say?
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I obviously big time disappointed in McCallister's decision, but I'm a glass half full guy. I'm excited about opportunity for the guys. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it seemed like last year, Billy Bowens dropped every other ball that went to him. And that has changed this year. I know he hasn't gotten a lot of targets, but especially since the quarterback changes, or what we've been doing on quarterback this year, he has not dropped as many balls this year. And so I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to step up. Pretty excited to see Bolt in action last week. And I think between those two and Penry, I think we're in good hands. I think it's obviously not what we had with McCallister, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see who steps up.
God, I like hearing that, Prater. Listen to Dino there, right? I mean, he's excited.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Although I would say something from my perspective. I thought Billy Bowens was a pretty solid wide receiver last year, even though he didn't win me my bet. His drops to me started this year with the Washington game, and he was in a big funk for about a month. He finally caught a pass. I can't remember which game that seemed like it really kind of got him, his confidence clicking a little bit. So I thought he was fine last year. I thought for the first month of this season, Billy Bowens couldn't spell the word drop because he just had drops all over the place. I think he's slowly, very frustratingly slowly has come out of that shell a little bit. I do expect Billy Bowens to finish the season strong.
Who do you expect Boise State's best wide receiver to be moving forward? Call 208-424-9300 and sell us on your guy. One more call. Dawn, welcome to the program. Double Tap Pub Hotline. What you got, Donnie?
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. I was thinking today before the show, earlier in the show, you guys are great. I know you hear that probably maybe not enough, but you're both really into what you say on the radio. You know your stuff. You get along great. It's fun to listen to you. So thank you for always being there, through the ups and downs of the non-sports world. It's nice to have this outlet.
Thank you.
As far as the receivers, yeah, absolutely. As far as the receivers, I think that Genty, if he's healthy, will get most of the calls on Saturday. I think they're probably going to pound the rock, obviously, early in the game without McCallister in there. But in terms of when the passing game does get going, I think Billy Bowen, Shea Whiting, we talked about them. The diamond in the rough we haven't talked about really too much yet is Prince Strachan. I think he's going to break through the remainder of the season here. I really like what I see from him. As far as who throws the ball, this is Mad Dog's team now. I'd also like to see Tiller get some reps, hopefully in the fourth quarter if we're leading. And one final thought here, obviously that if this is Mad Dog's team, truly that means probably Green's going to leave. I hate to see that, but the bright side is, I'd love to see him be successful somewhere, get a chance somewhere in some real good program that fits his skills a little bit better, or maybe sees his skills better. Thanks, guys.
Hey, great call, Dawn. 208-424-9300. You know what we want from you, Bronco Nation. Who's the receiver? Who are you putting your money on that's going to pop out of this and be a wide receiver one on this football team for the remainder of the season? Michael Forrest Prater.
My answer is going to be George Alani. And I'm very curious about the future of Ashton Jenny and how much he'll play, if at all, starting Saturday and beyond.
I agree. I don't think Genty's going to have another carry for the Broncos, and that's just my opinion. I have no information whatsoever. I just think he's going to shut it down, and it won't look as bad as EMAC because he'll have a legitimate excuse. He's hurt, Prater. Hope that's not the case, though. Who is, out of the wide receivers, who's giving you the most confidence moving forward? By the way, if you text the word safety to 208-424-9300 right now, the word safety, you're automatically in position to win tickets to this game. Let's go, receivers. Who do you like? Prater, let's take a quick one. We'll be right back on Idaho Sports Talk.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios,